Welcome to my midterm debriefing for EDTC 6332. What is the ultimate goal of this project? A video game for third graders called Multiply Mayhem. It employs failure-based learning. Studies have shown that more intense learning can occur through failed attempts. Video games are the perfect venue for this because players are motivated to keep on trying. In this game, a student will first watch an equation solved successfully by the farmer. Next, the student watches the farmer's kids fail to solve the equation. Then it will be the student's turn to play the games. Whether failing or succeeding, funny animations will happen when the student clicks to answer the problem. They will learn that it's okay to fail because it will help them learn. Successes will earn them animals to place on their own farms. Lessons are chunked into multiplying numbers 1 through 4, then 1 through 7, and finally 1 through 10. So what does Lesson 1 look like now? I had to switch my original Lesson 1 and 2 because I found out the higher the number, the smaller the animal I needed to fit the screen. So this lesson became cows producing pails of milk. The farmer's wife is making pies and needs milk. If each cow will produce so many cans of milk, the player uses the slingshot to shoot the total number of pails he will get. I was watching one of my little nephews play Angry Birds and he was giggling like crazy, and I thought, boy, it would really be fun if I could incorporate something like that in one of my games. So I found a way to do it, and this will be it. This is a demo of the farmer answering the equation successfully. Now the son will answer the equation unsuccessfully by shooting too many pails of milk. This will be the son shooting too few pails of milk. The player will select his own avatar and attempt to earn a star for each correct answer. When a player gets 10 stars, they can go to the speed game. In this game, they must either walk through the haystack or jump through the cloud that contains the correct answer. If the answer in the cloud is wrong, they run into a chicken. If the answer in the haystack is wrong, they run into a cow. When the player gets 30 correct answers, they will earn a cow for their own farm. When a player has earned one farm animal for his farm, he can take the timed multiplication quiz. These quizzes are best taken on a touch device where the student can write the answer. A mouse can also be used but is not optimal. One thing I've learned is that game programming is never easy in any software, Flash or otherwise. I chose ClickTeam because it was supposed to be so easy to use. Although I do like the interface better than Flash, I have had a huge learning curve. If you are ever drawing your own graphics, use a drawing tablet, not a mouse. Thankfully, there are people posting YouTubes of how they did their animation for ClickTeam games. I had done what I felt was a reasonably good job with the mouse. Then I saw someone mention a drawing pad. I purchased one and it has made my life so much easier. I did end up drawing all of my graphics in Flash. There is an editor inside of ClickTeam, but it was too difficult for me. I watched a YouTube tutorial on it done by professional artists using onion skins, but I found it much easier to use the layering inside of Flash. Tutorials was a software called Spriter. Like the drawing pad, it sped things up immensely. Flash deprecated their kinematics bone tool, but Spriter enhances the tool even further. Rather than having to draw every single pose in an animation, you can pose the body parts in less than 8 keyframes, and it will tween the rest of the movements for you. It is an amazing little program. I just exported the body parts I created in Flash, and it was a lot of fun. Because I would like the program to run on any device, I had to determine a resolution that would work anywhere. One of the ClickTeam users created this program that helps you enter a setting and see how it would look on any device. Originally, I was going to create the course in Blackboard so that teachers would have access to its powerful quiz feature. However, I realized that a timed multiplication quiz through Blackboard would be testing the students' typing skills rather than their multiplication skills. Therefore, I've decided to do the entire course on ClickTeam Fusion 2.5, formerly Multimedia Fusion 2.5, since I can use its gesture recognition features to recognize the number they write for the answer. If you look at the bottom left of the screen, it shows that it is recognizing the number drawn with the percent accuracy. I knew I had to find a way to incorporate the timed quizzes into the program, or the teachers would have to give the test manually and there would be no digital record of performance. Some final thoughts on things I've learned from working on Lesson 1. If at all possible, use software you're an expert at. It has been a little stressful learning 2 new software packages because I kept worrying that I would run out of time before I figured everything out. I'm pretty stubborn about wanting something to work a certain way. My husband would tell me to move on to something else because he's worried I won't finish either. Finally, at 1 o'clock one morning, I posted a question on the ClickTeam community forum. A gentleman from Australia was kind enough to analyze some of my code and tell me what I was doing wrong. So that would be another thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions on a forum. There are some very kind people out there who are happy to help you. Just when I thought I had every animation move accounted for, I would need another one like crouching or pointing, etc. Time management has been very difficult. I have a vision of what I want it to look like, and I probably waste more time than I should improving it to death. So what does Lesson 2 look like now? Well, because Lesson 2 multiplies numbers 1 through 7, I decided it would be much easier to fit 7 pigs on the screen than 7 cows. So I actually began working on Lesson 2 first. Many of the things I mentioned for Lesson 1 apply here. Rather than using a physics object like the slingshot, this game uses platform movement for the characters. Basically, the player will launch the total amount of corn according to how many each hungry pig will eat. This is a demo of the farmer answering the equation successfully. Here, the pigs are fed too little. See, the pig gets so light that he just floats away. This is the daughter feeding the pigs too much food. Watch that pig get too heavy and sink. What I have learned from Lesson 2. This was really my first foray into ClickTeam's programming logic. It is event-driven programming done within a huge loop. I'm used to object-based programming where I get to create modules and have control over when they fire. Triggering actions in this software is very tricky. At first, I tried to create a narrated demo of each scenario. This proved impossible because I had to trigger narration files with things like object collisions, timers, or button events. Luckily, ClickTeam has a demo mode. This enables me to play the game as the player would and add the narration over it. The software has bugs regarding the alterable values. I thought I could use string values to generate displays of cards or animations. Although this is supposed to be possible, a bug in the software restricts the alterable value calls to integers. I contacted the authors of the software, but they said they would not have time to fix the bug anytime in the near future. I had to find a workaround. Essentially, when I run into a wall for how I want to do something, it takes time to figure out workarounds, something I didn't budget very well for in my time schedule. These are part of the unanticipated unknown risks. Refining the storyboard. This is where the crashing has come in. I find a better way to demonstrate a lesson, and it means more hours creating new animations and new events. Perhaps some might call it scope creep. For example, the original cow milking did not involve a slingshot. It was probably adequate if the pails were just placed onto the conveyor belt, but it turned into a much more engaging game with the slingshot. Chance of finishing. The more proficient I become with the new software I'm learning, the more hopeful I become that I will actually finish. In fact, I am now 95% certain that I will finish. The games are coming along nicely, and the bulk of it left will be the sound files. I decided to wait to record them all at once to make sure the settings are exactly the same. I've had issues before recording things at different times and having them mismatch in tone, etc. I believe the sound files will take a solid weekend to firm up. Biggest concern. I will be emailing a link to a posted survey for collection of feedback for formative evaluation. I will also need a special survey tailored to third graders. Teachers may have to answer some of the questions for them if I can't design a good way for the third graders to evaluate it. I'm hoping teachers will have time to allow students to experiment with it. It is very busy this time of year, though. If anyone watching this has a third grader they think would be willing to test it for me, please let me know.